Good morning, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us and welcome to our webinar. Today we're covering Expand Your Earning Potential with Rentals in 2021, Advice from California's Top Agents. I'm Abby Arvidsson. I'm with the California Association of Realtors, and we are so excited to kick off 2021 with our first CAR Business Products webinar of the year. We've put together an excellent panel for all of you so that you can learn how to make 2021 your best year yet and have rentals be a part of that. So you're going to hear some awesome advice from really great top agents. So before we get started, just a couple housekeeping items. The chat is disabled. So if you have any questions that you want to ask, please field them to the Q&A box and we'll be monitoring that throughout the session. Also, please note that the recording of this session will be emailed to all registrants afterwards. So you'll get an email later this afternoon that has a link to the recording as well as some other helpful information. So before we get started, I'd like to introduce Michael Lucarelli. He's the CEO of RentFree, and RentFree is one of our CAR Business Products partners. He's going to be leading our panel today, and we're, like I said, super excited about it. So Michael, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Abby. Thank you so much for putting this all together with us. We're really looking forward to sharing some useful information today. So good morning and Happy New Year. To remind everyone, today, the panel is called Expand Your Earning Potential with Rentals in 2021, presented by RentFree and the California Association of Realtors. So as you can see here, we have an amazing panel assembled with some of the best and smartest realtors that I know. And they're going to share details about how they're able to successfully leverage rentals as a foundation for a strong and sustainable real estate business. So with all of you here today, it's over 1,500 attendees, and we're really excited to share more about this important topic. So as Abby mentioned, we do have Q&A available today. So to start off, everyone please go ahead and enter the number of years that you've been in real estate so we can get a quick gauge of the audience that we have. And then also we have Stephen and Leah here from the RentFree team who is going to be monitoring that Q&A. So as we go along, please feel free to enter any questions that you have in the box. And we're going to try our best to get to those questions at the end with some audience Q&A. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of your questions answered there. So moving on to our panelists, our wonderful panelists today. So first, we start off with Inna Rubinchik. So she's San Francisco's top leasing agent, focused on luxury properties since 2012. She's the leasing director at Compass, has won awards as the 2018 San Francisco Leasing Manager of the Year and the 2019 President of the San Francisco Women's Council of Realtors. So really excited to have Inna joining us today. Next, we have Rochelle Mays, the Executive Director of the Normandy and Associates Luxury Estate Division with over $2 billion in career sales. She's been recognized as one of the Wall Street Journal's Real Trends top agents, the Hollywood Reporter's top 25 real estate agents, and also has earned a spot on the Forbes Real Estate Council. So welcome to Rochelle as well. Also, we have Michael Bardales, who also joins us as the Director of Brokerage Expansion for Radius Agent Realty. And on top of all that, he serves as the President of NAREP East Bay area, and he also serves on the board of directors for the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce. He co-hosts a podcast called What's Up with Real Estate, which covers real estate topics impacting the BIPOC and LGBTQ community. And last but not least, we also have joining us today Nico De Leon, who's the owner of Nico CA Leasing. He's far exceeded transaction records by closing over 600 leasing transactions. And he's built a strong leasing foundation from over 10 years in property management, prior to growing one of the most successful realtor leasing businesses in the state. Currently, he works with about 60 different multifamily communities as part of his leasing network. So we're really excited to kind of dive in and hear all of these wonderful perspectives that we have on rentals and leasing in California. And again, my name is Michael Lucarelli. I'm with RentFree, which, as Abby mentioned, is a tool available at no cost to CAR members. And really, we help tens of thousands of realtors to streamline their rental transactions as much as possible. And so really the reason why we're joining here today together is because during 2020, rental activity in California among realtors actually grew 13% compared to 2019. And this growth is expected to intensify this year even more. And also, we look and we have access to a lot of great data, and it actually shows us that groups of realtors who close more rental transactions actually tend to have more success in closing sales transactions as well. So this is going to be just one of the topics that we can talk about today, among others. And so really we're going to share today some of the thinking on how realtors like yourselves can leverage rentals and leasing to expand your overall earnings for the year. So with that being said, I'd like to take some time and just give each of our panelists just a quick minute or two to share with you all what first brought them into real estate. So Nico, would you like to start us off here?
Oh, wow. No pressure. Me first. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Making sure we're good. Wow, what an introduction. And I had no idea the panel was this impressive. So thank you for including us. Really quick, my history is I was in the LA multifamily development arena for about 12 years, and eventually decided that I wanted to do the entrepreneur thing and do my own thing with building, a new career or something kind of different. But I found that once I started to practice real estate, I realized that there was a huge gap between the multifamily rental industry and culture and the real estate industry, because they were so different in their business protocol. So once we started to experience this kind of oversaturation of this multifamily product, there was a need for someone or something to fuse them together, especially at the higher price points. Typically, someone who's looking for, let's say, a rental over $3,500 will probably utilize the services of a realtor. So we had to make sure that the real estate industry knew that we were very realtor friendly, that we offered a lot of great services, a lot of great top-notch customer service to their clients, that we took great care of not only their clients, but also them, in paying them in a very timely, professional manner, so that they can look at us as a great rental referral source. So we started with one property in Hollywood about 8 years ago, and thankfully we're now up to our 60th statewide, and we've expanded to not only San Diego, but to the South Bay area, and hopefully we'll continue the growth. But basically, our business model is set up for realtors because we know a lot of them aren't fans of the whole process because it is an extensive amount of work. So what we do is if you select anything from within our portfolio, pretty much we do all the work. We do the touring, we do the application process, the apartment selection, the move-in process, the credit application, all that, and they just have to wait about 30 days to get their commission check. So if they do have renters they're working with, we make the whole process extremely easy. So that's one thing, how we're trying to help our fellow realtors in that case.
Great, thanks, Nico. Anna, you want to share a little bit as well next, please?
Good morning, California Realtors. Welcome to the podcast. So my name is Ina Rubinchik. I live and work in San Francisco. My business is leasing and nothing but leasing. I do not do any sales whatsoever. I don't even represent myself on the sale, although I'm a licensed broker. I operate a brand in San Francisco real estate community. I'm known as Leasing Agent 415 because it's a San Francisco area code. So I cover everything that's in the 415 area code. I do luxury and ultra luxury rentals, mostly on the north side of the city, very premier neighborhoods. I've been doing rentals for about 8 years. Prior to that, I worked for several real estate investment groups. As initially I started as an asset manager, I managed a multi-billion-dollar portfolio of multifamily investments all over the country. And prior to that, I actually have a master's degree in taxation, and my finance background, I work for Deloitte and other real estate companies. Believe it or not, it's all been through real estate. But my background in finance and taxation kind of took me onto my passion of real estate, and I started in real estate through asset management, and then kind of fell into leasing, fell in love with it, Yeah, I am very unique in the sense that I only focus on leasing and nothing else. And but I love it. It's flexible, it's fun, it's exciting. I'm a mom of 2 boys. I have and I'm an investor, and I own a lot of real estate on my own between my husband and I. And I'm happy to be here and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Anna. Rochelle, would you like to share next?
Thank you very much and welcome everyone here today. My name is Rochelle Mays and I'm the Executive Director of Luxury Estates at Normandy and Associates in Beverly Hills. And so I have kind of an untraditional past of how I fell into real estate. It was actually in wealth management, and I was a stock and commodity trader, and retired, and just was trying to be that stay-at-home mom, and met some people at my kids' school who were going into residential real estate, and approached me and asked me if I wanted to partner with them. And I, at the time, had invested in a lot of properties. So I had a background. I actually had my license because it was just something that I dabbled in for myself. And I was getting a little bit bored at home. So I thought, why not? And I took the plunge and I haven't looked back since. And so as far as the market and the career, it just kind of grew. Most of it was because of my background in finance and the way that I would analyze properties. And so I would take a lot of time to do that. And people were very impressed about the valuations that I would do for them and the time that I took to do it. And that kind of made a name for myself, and referrals kind of started coming in because of that. So I absolutely love what I do. And I love the fact that you can be so creative and there's so many different ways of doing sales and rentals, and the creativity involved with the way that we can get the information out there. Kind of the sky's the limit, especially now with social media and that side of it. So I enjoy it, I embrace it, and it's been great to me.
Thank you, Rochelle. Michael, you're up next.
Hi, everyone. Hola, mi gente. My name is Michael Bardales. I am the Latinx exec. I've been in real estate since I was 25 years old. So I will actually be 17 years in February. So I'm pretty excited about that. I started off super basic at the age of 25 in lending, actually. And that's where I kind of started my career. From there, I was able to be the residential lending manager for Sterling Bank and Trust within San Francisco, and helped a lot within their commercial lending department. I did a lot of fractional TIC work, did a lot of SRO work, so on and so forth. I'm also a Bay Area native, so I was born in San Francisco, the Mission District. Proud to say that my family's still there on 24th and South Van Ness. I'm also grew up in the city of Pittsburgh, and currently I live in the city of Oakland. Also a Navy veteran, so definitely seen the world and kind of did that. But my representation is the BIPOC, LGBTQ community and the underserved. I've been blessed with this career to understand a lot of different things and been in a lot of different positions. So my goal is to show my community how we can buy back our block, buy back our barrios, especially right now. I think with the rentals, there's huge opportunity here, and it's not going to be traditional. They're definitely going to be very creative. So hopefully with a lot of our real estate knowledge, I learned back in 2003 how to do real estate, so I couldn't Google nothing. I actually had to like look things up. So I think real estate math is going to be super important for the next market and understanding these things. So I encourage realtors that like it's been definitely an open door. I'll get you in a property sort of market. We're going to start shifting into what's this mean, what's that mean, so on and so forth, especially with rentals. So hopefully we can share some knowledge, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. And I know we're already getting questions flooding in already just off the bat. So a lot of great questions coming in, which again, we'll hope to get to those toward the end. So keep them coming as questions arise. But to start off here with really the question portion for our moderation today, I think a lot of people would love to hear from Inna a little bit more. So the fact that you're focusing only on leasing exclusively, can you tell us a little bit more about why you first decided to dive into that? What led you to that particular path? And then why do you continue to do so?
Well, when I worked for a real estate investment company here based in San Francisco, I actually, they bought a building in San Francisco, and they looked around the office, and offered the job to me of leasing and managing the building. It was a 25-unit luxury building and right in downtown San Francisco. I had no idea what I was doing. I've never done leasing before, but they just said, "Oh, you'll figure it out." So I just stood there at the plaza. The building is called Six Mint Plaza, for those of you who are familiar with it. I stood there with a bag of keys. I was pregnant with my first son, and I was completely lost. But you know what? If you have sense of humor and a lot of common sense, you kind of figure it out. I've done extremely well with that building. Still to this day, my crown jewel is a $22,500 penthouse apartment, $22,500 a month apartment that I leased at that building. I'm still trying to top that. I'm getting close. That's how I sort of fell into leasing, and I love it. It's flexible. It's on my own terms. I continue doing so because I've built a brand, Leasing Agent 415. You can find me on every platform. I'm particularly big on Instagram, and I'm known as the go-to leasing agent in San Francisco. I work with some of the top agents in the city because top agents don't do rentals. They focus on sales. They sell multi-million-dollar properties, and when they can't sell them, they send them to me. They trust the agents trust me with their clients and their properties because they know I will not steal these clients because I only do leasing. As soon as the lease is complete, I don't want to hear from the landlord. I don't want to hear from the tenant. For the next 11 months. In 11 months, they better be calling me, and they will, because I've done a great job and they're not going to go searching for another leasing agent. Besides, if you Google leasing agent San Francisco, I show up as #1 organically. The website has been SEO, the online presence is excellent. So, and the best part is that it's on my terms. I have 2 boys, so 4 and 8. I'm a busy investor on top of doing everything that on top of doing leasing. And it's just, pretty much on my terms. I meet clients whenever it's convenient for me. I almost never work weekends. I make a solid 6-figure income every year. And, I just love it. I meet so many cool people. Everyone needs a place to live, even if it's temporary. So, I've met politicians, I've met Olympians, I've placed pretty much every CEO of every public company in San Francisco, or non-public company. So, it's good to be, San Francisco is a very small market. It's a very expensive market, but to be known in such a small and expensive market as one of the top leasing agents has been excellent for me.
It sounds great, Anna, and I know that others here might focus not only on rentals or leasing, and so also maybe Michael, could you possibly share a little bit more? So you most likely probably have more of a combination of sales and rentals. Maybe could you break down for us what percentage is devoted between the two, and then how do you kind of go about?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would say more, I'm more on the residential side now, but in my earlier career, I did a lot of commercial, whatnot. But right now, I want to speak about an opportunity, especially for what's happening here in the rental markets. I think there's 2 huge opportunities, especially in metro cities like San Francisco, metro cities like Oakland. And that's working with the landlords in regards to where you're at with your business, in regards to rentals, in regards to living in your own home, or also in businesses. There was a strategy that was used with pop-up hood back in Oakland, where a lot of these places were empty, but a lot of people still had to do business. And what they did was they reached out to the private owners of these properties and said, "Hey, why don't we work with you here? I know you're not getting any rent. I'm kind of just struggling myself. Why don't we work together and actually come with a understanding of me occupying your place? I'll go ahead and paint it up. I'll fix it up for you. Give me rent for about 3 months. From there, let's review my P&L statement from there. And from there, I'll start paying a little bit amount of rent." That strategy worked. Within a year, literally Pop-Up Hood basically occupied all of Old Oakland. And Old Oakland was a place that was just desolate, and now it was thriving, and there's still shops there. Also, too, with SROs and TICs right now, there's conversion that we were talking about last night in regards to condo. I worked in the TIC market. I understand condo conversions as well. So I think there's huge opportunity in regards to that too. Especially we talked about gentrification here in the Mission District and Fillmore and all these different places in Oakland. And these are opportunities for people of color to kind of get back into their community and work out these things with their landlords, with their people, and even come together and do group financing to buy these properties. You know, there's a lot of opportunity here in 2021 in regards to that. And I've been privy to be, you know, on the Chamber of Commerce as a business side. So I see businesses thriving right now. And although COVID is definitely more virtual, and that's why I'm in my house right now, but at an opportunity, there's places for manufacturing, there's places for distribution that's available there too. So I want to encourage everyone that, like, although there is a desolate market, there's always opportunity. I started in real estate in 2004, and I've been through about 17 years, about 5 different markets. And I've always seen at the end, when there's something happen here, something positive is about to happen. I think commercial definitely is that. So that's my little insight in regards to that.
Thanks, Michael. And I know Rochelle also probably most likely handles a combination of sales and rentals. And maybe could you tell us also from your perspective how you kind of marry the two types of transactions and how they might support each other?
Sure. I would say my percentage is about 70% sales, 30% leases.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of high-end luxury agents do not like to do leases, but I've always embraced them because I think it adds more for the full service brokerage. And I try and be that my client's go-to person for everything. And so because of that, I think originally it started for me personally with a property that couldn't sell. And so rather than lose the listing to the next one in line that was trying to get it because the property wouldn't sell in a flat market, I suggested to the client, well, why don't we try, leasing it? Can you afford to lease it? And let's get the income for a while and then sell it in a better market. And so presented that to the client, and he's like, okay, if you can get, what do you think? I did the valuation. And so we then turned it into for sell or lease. We were able to lease it. The client became happy. I didn't lose the income. I didn't lose the client. And I became their go-to person for everything real estate. So that became very helpful to the point of right now in the very high-end market, over 10 million. And so some of those properties have stalled a bit because of the pandemic. We had a very good result of doing for sale or for lease this year in Beverly Hills with a team member, Kate Stevens, who shared a client with me that was a $40 million listing, and we put it on the market for lease for $165,000 a month, and we got it. So we got the highest lease.
Wow.
In Beverly Hills here for $165,000 a month, which was a great result. Same formula.
That's awesome. And I know that, Rochelle, you had a kind of outside the box way to tackle the issue of not getting that property maybe sold. And I was just wondering, you ended up positioning yourself as kind of like a go-to agent for that particular client by really handling it in, I think, a very eloquent way. Are there any other ways that you can share with the attendees here about how to better position yourself also to become that go-to for clients? And Rochelle, I'd love to hear from you and anyone else who'd like to chime in on that too, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that anytime that you can bring your client where you're value added and you can share that, it helps them. So they're used to calling you or asking you for things. Anything from a painter, a contractor, any resources. You want to have an incredible resource list to be able to do that. One thing that I found that was extremely helpful just with the lease side of the business for me, and happy to share it with, is the changing that we've seen with virtual reality, with not virtual reality, excuse me, with virtual staging. And so people that are putting their properties on the market to lease don't want to invest money in staging because it's expensive to stage homes, but they want them to look great. And today's buyer or tenant can't understand that. So with virtual staging, you're able to take properties and make them look so much more attractive. And it's a very easy way for someone new coming into the business. Doesn't cost a lot to virtually stage a client for a property for a client, a couple $100, and you look like a big star to your client. So, and you can do it before and after and show it to them, and it's a home run.
That sounds great. Yeah, anyone else like to chime in on that
Yeah,
point?
I think also like exactly what you said, when you show client options, sometimes with us when we have real estate knowledge, we can be that sort of like realtor that says, okay, here's what you wanted. Or we could be that realtor to sit there and say, have you thought about this? And the reason I say that, we had this celebrity chef that we're working with or whatnot, and they're buying, this massive house, and it was really nice. I think it was like in the $3 million, but at the same time want to open up a restaurant. So we're like, hey, why don't we come up with this strategy, maybe do a lease option to buy with this current property, because it's been on the market for over 100 days. It's really not going anywhere. Seems like you're the one that likes it. At the same time, let's find you a restaurant so you can build that and leverage your funds in regards to that way. So in regards to that, I believe owning homes is great, but also when you can leverage something like that, it's amazing too. So if you think about it, you secure the property. If you think of lease options to buy at a price, you put a deposit down, and then you secure that price for maybe 2 years from now. So regardless of the market goes up and down, that's your price. At the same time, you're building your restaurant here, and you're kind of building that momentum too. So that in itself is an Oakland local person living in Oakland, having an Oakland business. So I think from us being these experts or whatnot, especially in our fields, having that sort of like ace under our sleeve when it comes to leasing, when it comes to buying, I think it's huge. And definitely, Ian, I'm going to reach out to you since you're just do leasing. We can collaborate here in the East Bay. But I think those type of things as well is just like, think outside the box a little bit. We're privy to a lot of real estate knowledge. We're privy to a lot of these things. And I think sometimes we get creative. I think creative in rentals, especially in regards to commercial this year, is going to be the key. The more creative you can get, remember, it's about making a deal. So get back to the old school mindset, put some things together. I promise you, you won't be able to Google real estate strategies like this. So I encourage all you guys to take that extra step and think outside the box, because you can set yourself up for 2 great opportunities here and also a great opportunity in the future.
Can I throw in something real quick, Mike? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
So listening to all this wonderful feedback, and then also looking at some of the questions and answers. And I just want to quickly throw in there that, yes, to touch on what Rochelle said, a lot of realtors just don't like to handle rentals. And that's just the case, especially like you said, the more experienced agents, they just hand it off to someone else. I would like to kind of talk a little bit more about representing the newer agents that are just coming into the business, and how hard it is for them just to get their foot through the door and get started. So my business, just so that everyone can understand as well, is that we understand that what we're offering through our nico@leasing.com is that if you're a newer agent or someone who has nothing going on, you're more than welcome to go ahead and promote our communities as if they were your own, to try to find the lessee. We have the photographs, the content, anything that you need to promote as if it was yours, so that you can start building your sphere of influence. Because if you help those folks, like most of the agents here have testified to, that they remember the experience. Ina said, why go anywhere else? I treated you so well. Why would you go anywhere? When it's time for them to go and buy, you have now planted that seed, because you have taken great care of them, right? You have got them into their new home. You know when their lease is up. You know when to start to push to say, hey, let's get you pre-approved. Let's start building some equity on that rent that you're sending, to landlord. So that's open to realtors statewide, because we are now in so many different cities. Any interest in that, you guys just feel free to reach out to us, and we'll show you how that works. We have a drive that we built that we give you access to with all of the information, photographs, everything. And we're there to help, because we know that's the hardest time, is the first couple of years when you start dealing with mentorships, those dues, not understanding really how to build a business. So it's our way of giving back to newer agents. So don't be afraid to reach out to us, because we generally like to help, and be there. All right.
Thanks, Nico. Thanks, Nico. That's great information. And you start to raise also a great point. So talking a little bit more about the buyer/renter side. So I know that, Rochelle and others have mentioned providing value to maybe like the landlord side. But I'm just curious too, are there any strategies that anyone, I'll open it up here, but anyone has good strategies to really enforcing the fact that for those renters that you're their go-to, so that when they do buy a property in the future, you're their first call?
Well, again, I'll just jump in. Again, I think it's giving even the renters the strength to show that they would be a good tenant, and to work with them and to give them whatever value they need. So if it's, you know, expanding their market base, if they only have a certain amount of money and they're losing out on properties because they're a little bit too high, maybe opening up knowledge in some other areas that you know about and educating them. There's an old saying in our industry, buyers are liars, because they don't really know what they want. They start with something and they end up with something completely else. And it's so true also on the lease side. So they might not know exactly what they want, and that's why you need to be their go-to person to expand the knowledge and show them what's out there and show them the options. And maybe just say, hey, this isn't so bad. You just paint it, you do this, and it's great. It's not a lot of money. So, you know, why not try this?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think in regards to that, you know, everyone said life is a marathon. I kind of feel like life is a relay. And in regards to a rental situation, in regard to any real estate thing, it starts with purpose, right? Why did this person lease? Why did this person buy? So on and so forth. So you always start with purpose, right? So in regards to that, leasing may just be the option. Like, hey, I just need to get a house, right? So the way to properly follow up is like, well, are you getting a house because you're not making enough money? Is it the credit? Is it the down payment? Well, let's work on those strategies too. So in regards to maybe a year rental lease, you can connect them with credit repair person. You can help them find a second job. You can do things to get them to that DTI, to that credit score, to help them with home ownership. Or maybe they just need it because they're just seeing if their job is fine now, right? Like, I don't know. I just got this job. I come from Nebraska. I'm here in Oakland now. So let me figure that part out too. Everyone has a story on why they're doing what they're doing. Understand that story and follow up, and be that go-to person. I mean, sometimes, you know, they need more than just real estate knowledge. They might need a friend, especially during COVID. You know, sometimes hearing a different voice. I know this clubhouse is on fire right now. So just hearing voices is helping out a lot too. So in regards to that, I think, yeah, the benefit side of real estate knowledge, the benefit side of setting them up, but also too, I think a lot of these people just definitely need just an extra friend or extra person within their life that are there to look out for them, because housing is important. That's where people do memories. That's where people own businesses. That's where lives get changed or whatnot. So I think follow up and setting up a plan would be definitely help from converting people from rentals to owners.
The
I
other
think it's
thing
also
that resonate with you said, Michael, which is 100%, that's the most important factor with helping tenants like that, communication. If you stay in touch and you're constantly communicating for a year, for 2 years, whatever it is, you're going to be in front of their eyes when they do turn around and go to buy. So communication is paramount. If it's an email, it's your blog, it's whatever, just touch them all the time.
I think it's also important to remember that it's not only the tenant, it's also the landlord who could become a client. For example, in my case, several landlords that were in a referral that found me through social media or on Google, and I've leased their place, and then they decided to get out of business. And so they now need somebody to sell their place, or they want to buy more investment properties. So landlord's a great resource as well. And they will call you more so than the tenant, because you've done a great job for them. Because tenants not, you know, unless you really stay in touch with them, like Rochelle said, you got to stay on top of them. They're not going to remember you very much. But the landlord for whom you did an excellent job and found an excellent tenant, they're more likely to call you and say, hey, you know what, I want to buy more properties and I want to work with you. What do you recommend? So that's, and also a lot of investors, when they start buying properties, they like to bring you in on the deal early on, because they want you to see it as a leasing agent. They want you to approve this property for them, because as a leasing agent, I see properties through tenant's eyes, so I know what makes sense to buy and what doesn't. Because really many real estate agents will, you know, want to sell anything, right, without really thinking or understanding the rental market. And a leasing agent is extremely useful in the sense that they can say, no, this property A is better investment than property B because of such and such reasons. So so you have to look at both sides, yes, tenants and landlords for sure.
That's a great point. And also, like, just thinking about all these potential parties where it's going to be beneficial to make sure that you do have those touch points with them. I think maybe most people have less volume of landlords clients, but there might be also like a lot of renters as well that you might end up accumulating and having relationships with over time. And I'm just curious, does anyone use any automation or streamlined means of communication that allows you to have those touch points with maybe that large group of people that to make it a little bit more time efficient for you to be able to have those touch points and still not lose your position as their kind of front of mind go-to person?
I think every realtor should have a post-close strategy regardless of what clientele you're going to have, right? Typically, those are like 30, 60, 90, 6 months in a year is when you do the proper follow-up. But there's an app I heard called Rent Spree. I heard that's a pretty good app there. So I heard people are using that as well. Had to do it, bro. Had to do it.
Appreciate it.
Mike, we use, something as simple as a Wix email campaign where we upload all of our contact information, and we just, for whatever reason, we also, one thing that's really big for us is remembering client birthdays, something as simple as that, where you pop out your calendar, you send a personal text, and right there, they're so grateful that I remembered versus, maybe even though family and friends at times. But I did want to touch also right now, you guys, to see if it's unanimous or what your thoughts are on the fact that customer service right now during COVID is so much more important to get people into their homes, especially rentals, because I think a lot of folks right now are experiencing a lot of barriers with so many requirements, so much protocol to follow just to get someone to get into a place, whether it be these P forms, or even my communities that have all these protocols, they're virtual, they're self-guided tours. Right now, a lot of people that are in a need to move need a little bit of extra customer service attention to make sure that it happens. So we're actually experiencing a lot of strength in closing rental transactions right now because we're taking that extra effort to make sure that we're making contact with all parties and making sure that we're making it super easy. And a lot of the public seems to really appreciate that right now. And this is what they're going to remember when it's going to be time for the lease to be up, or they're going to time to springboard into considering buying. So if you're right now, if you're a realtor looking to expand that sphere of influence, renters are a great place to start because they're looking for people to take good care of them right now, and they're going to remember that post-COVID. Just a little bit of feedback on what we're experiencing every day.
That sounds great, Nico. Thanks for that. And kind of transitioning just a little bit here, I'd like to just hear from you guys, and maybe whoever wants to answer this one, but I'm curious, what have you guys found to be the most effective marketing channel when advertising and when you have a lease or a rental listing?
For me, it's
Craigslist. Well, yes, in San Francisco, Craigslist is everyone's best friend, but also Zillow. Zillow has overtaken Craigslist by far. It used to be 70% of inquiries would come from Craigslist and very few from Zillow, and fewer from Zillow and very few from all the other websites. I use a service that basically IDXs everything to 72 different websites, and it's awesome. It's easy, it posts everything at the same time, but Zillow has been by far the biggest channel. They've started even charging for it, $10 a week. And I'm hearing that they are going to be charging a percentage of the rent going forward. Yes, unfortunately, I think that's coming too, but they are such a huge market. They have a huge monopoly at this point. So yeah, that would be Zillow. And social media, Instagram has been incredible for me for getting clients, both tenants and landlords. I mean, I just posted something, a property, and I'm already seeing some comments and inquiries on it. So social media is never underestimated.
So writing off what you're saying, 100% agree with you. My most effective and efficient way has always been social media for leases. Zillow, you're right. Zillow in another week, or actually I think at the end of the week, they are going to start charging for all the leasing on Zillow. So if you sign up in the next few days, I think they're going to offer a discount, and they are charging a per day rate per lease entry. So that's going to, change our model a little bit because it's going to become, much more expensive. But if you do, want to do that, you can reach out to them, and they are offering a discount right now. It's about a 25% discount. My personal one also has been Instagram and Facebook. And it used to be in the old days, open houses. When were able to have open houses, I would do them for leases as well. And it was a great way to capture and get new clients and also sell the leases. So those were my kind of go-tos.
Yeah, thanks guys for that. And we'll just do one more question here before we transition to the Q&A from the audience. But really, I'm looking, and maybe Michael maybe could weigh in on this a little bit, but I know that rentals and leases, they could, while they're obviously by and large tend to be less complicated than sales transactions, they can become complicated in certain ways, and they can become time consuming, especially considering maybe the compensation that's available for them. And I'm just curious, Michael, if you have one key to a successful rental transaction, what would you say that would be to ensure that things go smoothly?
I think we also look at transactions as transactions, regardless if it's a dollar rental or a $2 million, $20 million lease. You know, I think transparency, education, and collaboration with the other parties is important to any deal right now. I kind of believe right now, especially where the market is that leasing is actually a little bit easier when it comes to maybe the lower markets, because they're willing to make a deal right now. This is literally dealing in willing mindsets when it comes to rentals, when it comes to going into certain spaces. And I think with that mindset of a realtor to understand, like, how can you do something right now that not only benefits the tenant, but also benefits the landlord? Because I think I was missing the boat. And then when Ina mentioned that, I'm like, yeah, you know, there is two parties here. You know, one owns the real estate and one's trying to lease the real estate. And if we do it right, that could be two clients, that can be two things. So I think understanding that sort of synergy and that sort of harmony in regards to you working with that other party, you working with the landlord or whatnot. So I think a good deal is one that's going to be beneficial within the next year or so, because we just right now, landlords just want bodies in there. People just want to be in housing. So right now you're just going to work in something. But I believe just come in harmony. Like, I'll give you an example for thing. I'm leasing a space for my office. So right now, when the market hit, oh my gosh, when COVID hit last year, you know, half of my agents were like, I'm done, I'm not showing up. Production went down a little bit just based on that. I went to my landlord and said, hey, what can we do? She literally like discounted my rent, helped me out here. And we worked the strategy out that kept us in there. And we've been in that building for about 6 years, and hopefully, you know, we'll buy it. So I think when you come up with strategies like that in regards to a market like this, you're going to benefit yourself, and also you're going to benefit with the landlord too.
I 100% agree with that, and getting creative with landlord tenant. If both want it, and obviously the tenant's been qualified and you've checked their past landlords and they prove to be a good client, which you want to do your due diligence always, is to try and make that deal. So if there's a gap and they don't want to come down in the price, then, you know, offer a few weeks or a month free. I mean, get creative with it. Do what you need to do to make the deal happen, because once they go away, and it's like, look, do you want to sit on this for a month that you're gonna lose it? So it's just give them a couple weeks, give them this, and, you know, when somebody thinks they're getting something for free, they like it. Everybody likes to get something for free, no matter what it is. I mean, think about it. So it's just the give and take and making it work.
I've been telling my landlord clients who have empty properties right now is not to lease them if they can afford to and if they need to remodel them. So I have several clients who are remodeling right now, because why give it away at, you know, 30% discount at the moment when you can spend some money on it, make it nicer, wait out the market a little bit, and, you know, have a brand new property for the foreseeable future. So you could always get more money for a nicer property. And in my experience here in San Francisco, it's the lower end properties that are sitting on the market. I mean, I've had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo that was on the market for 13 weeks. 29 tours, incredible. And then a $15,000 single family home rented on a 3rd tour. So, you know, at a certain price point, people are, you know, they're not looking for anything free. They're just looking for the right space, the right size, you know, something that will keep them sane, keep their family together, you know, something that will make them happy. So, so yeah, it just really depends on, you know, every client and what their needs are, but just kind of, you know, just the biggest thing about having a successful client relationship is figuring out what is best for the client and advising them, whether it's not going to market right now, whether it's low in rent. I've advised a lot of my landlord clients to reach out to their tenants and do whatever it takes to keep them, because they're not going to get a rent that's close to what they've been getting. So just really customized service is that what you should be offering.
Well, that sounds great. And thank you guys so much for providing this extremely insightful information. You can see just starting to scratch the surface of a lot of this information that you guys have. So we will get to some of the audience questions now, which we have a ton of great questions. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some of the questions. And then, as I said, feel free to continue typing in your questions and we'll do our best to get to them. So we have a couple people asking a little bit about Nico, but Nico, to start off for you, someone's asking, do all of your apartment vacancy listings go directly to the MLS?
It depends on the availability of our communities. So for example, we work with both lease ups and stabilized communities. So let's say that a stabilized community only has 8 or 10 listings. We will list them all because that's the extent of their inventory. But we also know the bell curve of our industry, which means that come summertime, when that is the change in the industry, then we'll start listing more. If it's a lease up, we list a cross section of their availability from their least expensive to their most expensive. And I'm a little bit different than the rest of the panel in that I strictly my audience are California realtors or statewide or international realtors. So we have to make sure that they know what's available. So depending on if it's an established or a lease up, that's what we would list. Yeah. And they
also
can
getting
go leasing.com. Sorry, had to get the plug in. And Boris, I got your email. Boris, I will be reaching out to you about the program after the Zoom. Okay.
Great. And then we have a bunch of people who are just asking for a little bit more detail of how you all think about charging your clients for leasing. So I know that like percentage or like a month's rent. So I would love to hear from you guys how you guys typically charge your clients to handle leasing for them.
For me, go ahead, Ina. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you. So usually I used to charge 7% of the term, which is about 84% of 1 month's rent. And I do leasing. And as soon as I pass on the keys to the client, I'm finished. I don't do any property management. But with COVID, I just felt like it's a little bit more complicated with some properties. So I just started charging 1 month's rent and call it a day. Very, very straightforward.
Yeah, for myself, again, I always talk about creativity. I think every deal is different, sometimes it comes down to just pure help, and that's what's needed right now. And again, us being privy to this knowledge, sometimes people just need that. Wouldn't necessarily say pro bono, but definitely you're going to work deal to deal. And I think that's the mindset right now, especially what just Ina just said. There's a standard out there, but I see a lot of people just cut deals with their landlord, maybe for something in the future. So I think in regards to that, it's going to depend on transaction to transaction in regards to what you make. Me personally, I tend to have sort of like a $2,000 to $5,000 minimum, depending on that, like, hey, I at least have to make something, right? So that's kind of like the mindset. So instead of maybe percentages, think of flat fees.
And my world here in LA and the luxury side, it's typically industry standard is 6% that's split between the two agents. Kind of rule with them.
And we don't actually split in San Francisco. We usually the tenants come on their own. They're never represented, and if they want to be represented, they pay their own fee to the agent representing them. So the entire month rent.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Another question. So another question from Claudia. So Claudia asks, do I need to be a broker in order to provide leasing and property management services? Or do I need buy-in from my broker?
I'm with Keller Williams, and you have to find out from the broker if they can allow you to perform property management services. they don't allow us, even though we would be really good at it, because that was my experience. We're not allowed to do that. So you have to ask your brokerage if they're even permissible to do that.
Yeah, I'm in the Bay
Compass,
Area. I was with Compass, and they told me that Ina has to do all the leasing. But yeah, so Compass was a little bit more like you have to have a little bit experience or whatnot. So, but yeah, I would refer to probably Ina.
I would, so Compass does not allow property management, and why would you want to? Because property management is a great way to ruin your reputation, because people complain about everything and anything that could go wrong. So as long as you are, lease it up and let the owner handle all the property management or a property management company, you will always have great reviews. So don't do it.
Agree. And, we have a resource that I'm sure all you do for great property managers. And that's also another referral base for you to get more clients. So it's a good give and take.
Mm-hmm. And then also another question here. So we've got a question from Dina. And so we've got a couple of these questions from others as well. But they just said, how and where can I start getting into the leasing world? And similar to that, we have, other people that ask things like, how do you get started finding landlords who need leasing services? So just a lot of questions about like getting the ball rolling and building that momentum from a standstill.
Well, I can tell you that I teach a leasing masterclass for people who are looking to get into the business. And I actually work with a lot of real estate investment companies, and I train their leasing agents on how to sell, how to rent a property, what to do, basically how to market, how to write leases, literally everything. So, so I came up with a leasing masterclass, which I teach individually. It's kind of on a consulting basis. And that's where all the secrets are. So call me.
I would also recommend, two ways. One, obviously you want to get a mentor to help you if you're already with a brokerage. Or number two, if you're not with a brokerage, find a brokerage that trains. Normandy & Associates has a great training program. Our managers are amazing. And it's the only private boutique firm left here in Los Angeles. So, that's nice. But I think if you get with a brokerage that has a good training program or have that one-on-one mentorship, it's amazing. And that's what I would recommend.
I would probably also, I would, if you were a newer agent or someone who needs any kind of income right now, let people know that you're willing to take on leases. I think a lot of times people promote themselves as representing buyers and sellers, but they forget the leasing part. A lot of times, like Rochelle said, a lot of higher end realtors don't want to deal with that. So let the brokerage know, hey, I'm here, just give me a call and I'll take it on. Put that on your social media account. I help with leasing as well. When you promote yourself to your friends or wherever you're at, include that word leasing. Because a lot of people think that they're only interested in renting and buying, but if you add that third word, it could be really beneficial. Just let people know that you do it.
Really, really good point, Nico. Really good point. I mean, if you don't put it out there, you don't get it back.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Being a broker, director expansion for Radius Agent Realty, I'm able to talk to a lot of people. What I'm finding is that when people want to learn something, they just go ahead to that brokerage for that year to learn that knowledge and then go back to it. I think the great thing about real estate is that you can cut it up in so many different ways. There's residential, there's leasing, there's investing, there's buying. There's so many things we can do in real estate, and real estate's not going anywhere. So for you to like maybe dip out to a brokerage that all they do is just commercial and leasing just to get that knowledge, I mean, we could definitely read it in books, but hands-on training, I don't read directions. My wife does. I usually look at the pictures and trying to figure it out, So I think my strategy is kind of like shadowing. I love that part. And if you don't want to leave your brokerage, connect with the local people there. Like you said, Instagram is great. Shadow some people, ask to be a part of their thing. There's always a mentor out there and there's always someone to lead. Trust me, realtors love talking about ourselves. That's what we do well. And we're always willing to get the knowledge. So like, if you see someone like Ina, you see someone like Rochelle, reach out to them, and maybe you don't have to leave your brokerage. You can just get a mentor with that. So I think in regards to that, hands-on training is always the best way, because our market is so fluid. What I learned in 2003, it probably doesn't even apply in 2021. So I think getting that real estate sort of knowledge through real people in your local market is going to probably be your best bet.
That sounds great, guys. Thank you for the great answers. And so I think that's pretty much all the time that we have for questions right now. Seems like it went by pretty quickly, but to kind of finish up, I'd just like to give all of our panelists just a quick minute to just share any final information. I know a couple people are looking to maybe get into contact with some of you guys. So we'll go and basically give you guys just a chance to do a quick last word and any information that you'd like to share with the attendees. So Nico, maybe kick us off here.
Sure. So we are at NicoLALeasing.com, NIKOLALeasing.com. Like I said, we're focused on the realtor aspect of leasing to make it super easy for you guys. Multifamily communities, we have a business plan that coincides with their culture, given my 12-year history in there. So we have our 60th. We expand. We're looking forward to expand. Again, don't forget that if you are a newer agent looking for something to help promote as if it was your own, contact us there. Nico at NicoLALeasing.com is the email address. And Michael, thank you so much for putting this on together. I think it was really informative. Very impressive panel here. I'm looking forward to staying in contact with you guys. And hopefully, Ina, we'll see you up in the Bay Area and we can touch base and see how we can continue to work up there. And thank you guys for the opportunity today. It was awesome. I had fun.
Yeah, and Michael, you want to go next?
Yeah, again, thank you guys. And it's definitely a pleasure meeting all three of you guys today. And Michael, again, thank you for letting us on. But yeah, again, my name is Michael Bardales. I'm the director of broker expansion for Radius Agent Realty. We're a new brokerage. We're a flat fee brokerage. Hopefully we'll disrupt the market. But reach out to me in regards to anything. Like for me, I love talking real estate. I've been involved with real estate since I was 25 years old. So if you're just getting started or even just want to talk shop, I'm all for that. Like I said before, I'm a big advocate of the BIPOC, LGBTQ community and the underserved. So anything in regards to that, that's my niche. I definitely know a lot of real estate through failure, to be funny, and through experience. I think sometimes our biggest lessons are learned out there in real estate. So I've definitely started my own brokerage in my garage, basically, and kind of worked my way up. And in regards to that, I know I could have used a little extra help in my career. It probably didn't have to be that hard, especially being a person of color. When I first started, there wasn't many people like me. So if you feel left out or anything in regards to that, reach out to me, Black, Brown, whatever the case may be. I'm definitely here for that. Also, we do have a podcast, What's Up Real Estate. So that's why you see this microphone. But if you guys want to see that, it's on all platforms as well. But, I just want to tell everyone it's great meeting you guys. Stay blessed and peace, love, and real estate to you all.
Rochelle, any final words?
Sure, of course. So thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun and meeting fellow panelists. It's been great. For contact, you can reach me, Rochelle at RochelleMays.com. My Instagram handle is 9021row. So appropriate. So you can reach out that way. My best piece of advice, find your passion. Passion resonates within you. When you're meeting people, they can tell how passionate you are about what you do. People know how much I love what I do. And I think if you can show other people that, it just, everything else will fall into place. So find your passion, find the brokerage. Normandy Associates is looking for, people that are passionate and want to learn. So reach out to me and I'm happy to put you in touch with the right people at my company.
Last but not least.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on this webinar. It's been great. It's so amazing to meet such great professionals all over California. So I'm Leasing Agent 415 on every platform. I see already over 30 new followers on, on social media. So thank you. If you have any questions about leasing, how to start in leasing, by all means, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to always talk shop and, get people started. And my advice would be, if life gives you lemons, order lobster tail. Because you know what, if your business is slow, focus on marketing, focus on learning new skills. If that new skill is leasing, then be it. You can make good money in leasing. You can create new business for yourself in leasing. You can start investing. Sky's the limit. So those would be my words. So feel free to get in touch.
Love that.
Well, great. Well, thank you guys so much again for joining us. To our panelists, Leah, Stephen, Abby, thank you guys for making this happen. If you want more information about RentSpree as well, you can go to car.rentspree.com to learn more about streamlining rental processes using our software, which carries no cost to CAR members. So you can check it out at car.rentspree.com. And if you have questions for me, it's just michael@rentspree.com. So feel free to reach out as well. I'm always happy to chat. And without further ado, I'll pass it over to Abby to close us out.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Nico, and to the rest of our panelists. You guys were fantastic. This was one of the first panelist-style webinars that I've been able to host, and it was an honor. Thank you guys so much for the wonderful information you passed on to our members. Super appreciate everyone's time, and Michael, Stephen, Leah, of course, working with you guys is great, and I appreciate all your efforts as well. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the day. The recording of the session will be emailed to all of you that registered. And everyone take care. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.